Welcome back to Real Fishing 2, the walkthrough. We are getting near the end of this amazing fishing game. Today we are after the legendary and elusive Coelacanth. The living fossil itself lives near the Comoros Islands of the Western Indian Ocean, I believe we're about to see when I check the fish description. This goal is to simply land a Coelacanth. That is all you need to do to complete this level and really to complete the main story mode of this game. You can see here we are in the Western Indian Ocean, I suppose. I did look up some real life fishing of this fish, and looks like it is done around South Africa area, so the Western Indian Ocean is pretty good. I'm not sure where the Comoros Islands are right off the top of my head. I'm going to the max line strength, and you can't actually choose your rig or choose your fish. Just going with the max line strength. I'm definitely willing to wait a little bit longer between bites if it means that I'm more likely to land a fish when it comes. So that's why I'm going with the strongest line I have here. And there is a pretty decent wait between catching these fish. You'll see that I make a good number of cuts in this during several minutes of waiting sometimes between bites. So this is a very... It's a very tough level, and you don't get a lot of strikes from the Coelacanth. I didn't try it at a lower line strength. Maybe the bite rate would have been higher, but I wanted to make sure I had the best chance of landing every fish that I did get a bite from. The bite pattern of the Coelacanth that we'll see here soon is it's kind of hard to describe, and it's definitely hard to hook. Sometimes they have a short bite window, and sometimes it's a longer one where you need to set the hook. The animations are not consistent as you have these bites from the Coelacanth, so it's a lot of guessing as we go here towards our first fish. I did want to leave some of the wait time in because you could see what this level looked like. I guess I would recommend, if you're playing this game for real, to have something else to watch while you are playing this level. I was watching something else, and I was just keeping half an eye on the screen because you just spend a lot of time waiting like this. And you're even going to run out a couple of fishing sessions, as we'll see. And interestingly, a fishing session, when that timer runs out and your line is still in the water, it will not take you back to the Aqua Lodge. It won't end the level. It will wait until you have retrieved the line, or you have some kind of fish result. Either, bite, hook, catch, whatever, some kind of bite result. So presumably whenever you reel in, after that last timer has ticked down, then you go back to the Aqua Lodge. But there were times when I would let like 15 minutes sometimes go by. I know that I was past the time, but I left the line sitting out there, and then just to see if the timer had run out, I reeled in with the circle button. That's the cancel button to bring your line in, and then immediately ended the level. So I learned a little something that I kind of already thought was a rule in this one, but I'm pretty sure I confirmed it. And so the thinking from Team Hobnob and other sources online that I'm not entirely sure is fully correct is that they wanted to hook the fish as close to the boat as possible and as shallow as possible. When you hook a fish shallow, it is true that the fish does start higher in the water column, so technically closer to where the landing spot would be. But in playing of this game, especially with bigger fish, I don't think I ever saw a circumstance where hooking a fish in the shallow water was able to get me the fish in quickly. You just don't have, even with the strongest gear and the strongest line, the way fish fights are programmed in this, you don't have the strength to horse a fish in. That was what we called it growing up in the Midwest United States. If you're hurrying a fish in, you're horsing them in. So you just don't have the strength to do that. So now that we're 4 minutes into the video, you can see our first bite. And I did hook it. And it immediately got off. I was a little bit too timid with yanking on the line, and it got off on the second kick animation. So from now on, we will be cutting that time, but I wanted to give you an idea of how much wait time there is between bites. So I would say almost 4 minutes or so during our last chat. So hooking them shallower, though, I'm not sure, because you can see the coelacanth and really most fish in this level will immediately head for the bottom. So you can see the water here is quite deep, and the first thing that the coelacanth do consistently when you hook them shallow is go straight down to the bottom with their first run. Rather than go left or right, they just go straight down to the bottom. So I'm not sure how much hooking them far or near or shallow or deep has an impact. It may have some, but it didn't seem to me to have a huge difference. More extensive work may change that. And so right there you can see we didn't have the line stretch, so the line was in no danger of breaking. I just wasn't able to turn it with my frantic swinging of the rod. But that was promising, because that was the first coelacanth bite that I got, and it, as you saw, it was very nearly landing the very first fish that I hooked. So right there was a different kind of bite animation. I hope you saw that. And here we go. So two bites, and that's all we got in this session. I did want to illustrate that. Here's a description of the coelacanth. I wanted to take a break to look at this. Yes, they're the Comoro Islands of the Western Indian Ocean. Sightings in other areas. The living fossil goes back to that this fish was presumed to be extinct for a while, and then it was rediscovered again. So this was something that was kind of known about in kids' animal books when I was a kid, that this was the living fossil fish. So that's why we're after it here. And this was a level that I certainly never unlocked when I played this game in the early 2000s. When it first came out, I never advanced this far in the game, so it has been a really nice experience for me to finally get through and see all of this amazing game. And that's really the story with Reel Fishing 1, as it is also. That was another game that I really enjoyed playing, but I just was never able to see it through to the end. I didn't have the patience or persistence, nor did I have some of the online game facts kinds of forum posts that sometimes if I've had little hiccups and I want to just see what someone else has done, I will look on those. They're pretty sparse, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to make this series, is I wanted to have something that I could give to future players of this game who maybe wanted to see their way through and could check on some of the tactics and materials that I used to successfully get myself through the game. So on this fish, I know, look, there was a cut there. That was just a hiccup in my capture. I apologize for that. So this one, I'm letting them run. I'm not putting much tension on the line because I believe I did have some line breaks eventually, and sometimes fish were running directly away from the boat, and I was pulling on them with everything. I was able to snap the line a time or two. And this video is boiled down from about an hour of actual gameplay. So the length of the video that you'll see here was about 1 hour's worth of gameplay. And again, hookups were happening about every 4 to 5 minutes, sometimes a little less. So it was over several sessions, but again, I would recommend for this level having something else to do or watch, because your wait time will be pretty significant between interactions. And it's supposed to be. This is the final boss of the game. It's supposed to require the utmost patience and skill, although I believe I found the Sakura trout level to be a little bit more challenging and take me a little bit longer than this one. So you can see this one has a long kick animation, and despite everything I had, still getting off, and that happens a lot. And you'll see a number of the fish that I got bites on and hooked up with. You won't see every single one in this video, because there is a lot of repetition, which is a nice thing about kind of like making a real-life fishing show, is you just cut together the the most exciting parts of your fishing session, and you leave out all the parts of waiting. So when I was young and watching fishing shows on TV, I used to think that they would catch fish all the time. It seemed like those guys were catching a fish on every cast. I wasn't quite old enough to understand what editing was. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't catching fish every single cast when I would go fishing in real life. But enough of that. We're battling the legendary coelacanth. And there was a good turn right there. You could really hear the reel cranking. I hope you could hear the reel making its noise and cranking as I'm pulling. And right there is one of the more frustrating ways fish can get off, and that is the kick animation facing the boat. It seems like when that happens, you're not able, despite your pulling, you're not able to get enough pull going opposite their fight to get them out of that animation. Whenever I have seen a fish, this is almost without exception, or maybe complete without exception, whenever a fish would be in that kick animation facing the boat, that would be 100% fish loss. I was never able to turn a fish out of that to my memory. So this one you can see that was hooked deeper. I believe it's because it was and I'm adjusting the drag. It was the first cast of a new session. So this fish, I did not make any adjustments for shallow. I did not make any adjustments for drag. I just kind of pushed the X button as soon as I reloaded the level. This would have been maybe the fourth or fifth session in total. This fish is available year-round, by the way, so it doesn't matter which month you're in. You can come here anytime, and I'm not sure if the months make any difference in the Coelacanth. I'm not sure if that does anything. So there was a turn. And I'm adjusting the drag because the stiffer drag gives you more pull against the fish. You can turn them out of their kick animation a little bit more easily if you have tighter drag, but of course that can put more strain on the line. So trying to balance as much as the line can take, and here I'm frantically pulling to try to rush that fish to the surface, and indeed, we do. So that's the Coelacanth. Next video, we are going to go to the bonus stage and have a little bit of a wrap-up of reel fishing. For now, let's watch the credits and enjoy. And I thank you for tuning into this video series. It has been amazing. And I will see you for the bonus level next time. Enjoy the credit roll.